Good morning, everybody. If y'all can hear me, let me know. We'll begin shortly. All right. So good morning. Today is March 3rd, Friday, of course. We have two important data today. Overall, later in the day, we're going to start to see some Fed speakers at around 11 o'clock, 11:45, 1 p.m., and 3 p.m., as well as 4:15. We do have some Fed speakers. So as of this morning, we're going to be watching 9:45 a.m. This is going to be PMI services, and then for 10 a.m. we do have ISM services as well. So we will be watching these two datas. I'm not expecting too much today as far as price action, but these should move the market. So we'll definitely watch out for any volatility there or um, sudden movement. So let's be wise. Let's begin. All right. So let's go here. Let's look at ES. So yesterday, small recap, we ended up holding right above um this wedge at open. We were at this was pre-market wedge created. We were hitting lower highs, and then we opened, we retested it. We failed to touch it. We failed to go lower than that as we the 332 had no 3932 had no full candle below it. So we didn't show any signs of relative weakness. And so there were no bears down here, and instead we were able to buy it up where we ended up seeing a lot of volatility in this demand, which was yesterday's or last week's demand. So we we're gonna look into how we will react today, especially as we start to approach the supply. But yesterday the key thing to understand was the volatility was here. Once we broke out, we started seeing some bigger movements, and then of course, overall some volume came in where we broke out of this wedge and continued. So now, if you guys remember yesterday what I said in pre-market live, if we have candles above this price and we break this sort of downtrend, then what is expected for buyers and sellers is for buyers to be relatively stronger above that price. So for what I'm going to be looking at today is a continuation up, um, but we're going to look at some key levels for bounces as well. So as far as bounce levels go, if you look at pre-market as well as yesterday, we're looking at 3975 again as a strong spot for buyers down here. So if we do end up falling and seeing some chop or anything, I'm going to look for momentum in buyers to start stepping in at that 3975 spot. Or then I'll be able to purchase some calls, try to grab some position up and take our profits. As far as resistances go, we're looking at this whole spot to be a sell spot as we open in the market. There's going to be a little strong selling here. So you're going to be a little careful with taking any positions at open, especially at this spot. There could be some volatility. There could be some rejection. There's a lot of things that could happen at this specific price alone. We're getting that information based off of these wicks. If we look at these three wicks here, and that's all selling candles. Overall momentum loss is shown. Same thing in the past. We've seen the same thing there. And then previous, we're looking at that being used as a bounce. So if anything, this would sort of be a 5 minute um supply, if anything. So just watch out for that whole 405, 4005 to 3997 for some sellers to be active at around. If we do gain volume, then of course expect a break. And if we do end up breaking, watch that 4023 to 4016 to 4034. Main reject spot, again, I want to retest this, see if we see momentum loss. There's a good chance, a high chance we will break it if we retest. All depends on the volatility again, but the main reject spot for me today is going to be this 4034. That's going to be the main reject spot, but I also want to see how we react over at 4016 and 4023 as well. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be our game plan for today. As far as any levels specifically go, intraday, I don't see anything that we should mark. Um, we already have our solid levels to watch out for, so we will be using those wisely. So let's go into SPX. Let's look at if we see anything up here for them, and then we can try and take some trades off of it as well. All right, so SPX looks like yesterday we bounced off that 3933. We held above it, so that's good. We filled pre-morning gap. We still have yet to. Looks like we still have this gap to fill. We also have this gap. As far as any other gaps go, we'll look at how we open today. Yeah, we should gap up today on SPX. I'm gonna see this whole range right here, 4015, 4017, a little higher than that as well, on 4022. I want to see if sellers are gonna start being active up there. Um, Expected for us to gap up near this, so I want to see how we do react. Maybe we could fill the gap to the bottom side and then bounce, or we'll probably see some sellers up here for sure. If anything, we do get that volume again like we did at close yesterday. What should be expected is for us to approach gap. We have this 4036 resistance that I want to watch for rejects, as well as this 4049 key level where we're going to start seeing momentum loss at, especially as we approach this gap fill. Overall, investors, now that we had our trend break from downtrend to now possible bullish trend, if we can get a higher high, then I want to watch for, of course, 415, 434, but mainly to see if investors are going to back hold to next week to try and fill this gap. So this will be an interesting watch. As far as price action goes, it's a Friday, so expecting volatility, 0 DTEs, a lot of uh, data expirations, a lot of contracts are going to be tough to trade. So just be very careful with which stocks you do choose to trade, and as well as the contracts that you do choose as well. Apart from that, SPX, this is really just going to be the main reject spot. Is this 4015? Not really else I see in terms of levels. We're definitely going to gap up, but other than that, this is the spot I'm selling for. Investors are probably going to start to see here, which just means that if we do push here, they're either going to try to buy up this resistance instead of taking profit because they do want to see a higher high. So there's going to be a lot of back holders going into the weekend. But of course, it is a Friday, so the risk of these people holding towards the weekend is going to be a little high, especially with all the Fed speaking today and any possible news we may having next week. So there we go. We'll move on to Apple. Let's look at how we're looking here. So we're based off of yesterday, we're starting to see some buyers definitely step in, breaking these small little trends that we have been having. Um, let's look for some intraday possible trades. So here we have pre-market high forming. Anything apart from that we could try and use to create a possible setup. Looks like pre-market high, 3 wicks off it, long wick to the bottom. So I do want to watch this bottom spot to see if there's interest down here. Especially yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is going to act as a good spot for investors. Should be a great spot to watch out for. As far as resistance goes, not really much in terms of resistance. Overall, we do know this. This is what this wedge is telling me. This is telling me that we had our high here. We had our higher low. We had our higher low. We almost broke a higher high, but we still have our higher low, and then opening still higher low. That's really all we're trying to understand in charting this. Now, what we're gonna look for is if investors can push us up, so we can get this higher high, and we break out of this little trend where we're kind of seeing some selling. We also possibly see a broadening formation. Yep. So maybe we're seeing this trend. Now we're trying to break out at open. We can play the orb strategy, open range breakout, where we take pre-market high calls and try to ride them to this pre-market high, and overall looking like a small intraday sell spot, intra-week sell spot. As far as smaller time frames go, we're going to look at this whole spot right here for some sellers to be active at. I think I'm going to shorten it down here to maybe over here. There we go. That looks a little better over here. Why? So we do still got sellers up here, so but I'm looking at this part for information. All right. There we go. So Apple, we break out of it. I want to see a higher high. If we don't get a higher high, then that tells me that our trend is still low. If we do get a higher high, then our potential price targets are going to be this gap fill. Apart from that, we still have more higher highs to achieve. So expectations will probably be something like, oh, we touched that higher high, we're gonna recheck until we start to see a move up with volume. Other than that, nothing else in terms of bearish moves. We can probably bounce off of this level if we do go down. Just based off of this support here, as well as these levels here and here. All right, that's it for Apple. We'll look for some more setups. This to me isn't an A setup, therefore I probably wouldn't take anything off of it specifically. But let's go on to the next one. So Costco had their earnings. Looks like they fell. Bouncing off the retracement. This is key. We talked about this yesterday. We want to see Costco hold above this retracement, but also for us to be able to take opportunity around this whole price right here. So could be a good potential buy spot, especially for today. Yesterday, consumer had strength. It looks like there could be a lot of selling, loss taking, profit taking on Costco. So if we do sell off, just watch for 467 lows possibility, or if people do want to buy back at these lows, they're gonna look at retracement and do so. So right now that we're in the sort of the median, there's no good setups there. So let's look at this Nvidia. Nvidia relative weakness at open, and then we started seeing some volume come in for semis near the end of the day. So this to me yesterday was interesting because semiconductor sector really had no flow, no money coming, no volume specifically, as well as tech sector. So to see it sort of push up uh, near end of the day, bouncing off their view off, they were holding above it pretty strong. It was interesting. So I want to see AMD specifically. Look at how we reject. We're starting to approach this retracement spot 80.9, 89 reject. I want to see how Nvidia will react if we do go higher. Overall, what I'm going to depict from this is our sell zone is right here. We approached at 23897. We show proof of momentum loss. I will be taking puts up there. That's going to be something I will be watching. And as far as swinging it goes, it's going to be a little risky to swing, but this does look like it's going to take some time to do so. So mainly we got up here, reject, take shorts. We know only if there is momentum loss. We know if there's evidence here showing that there's sellers are active up there. As far as us hitting a higher high, I don't really see any other spot that would be able to go to. We have lots to fill, so we probably would see around 256 to 262 if we do continue. But we're gonna go based off market, as we know market's heading towards a supply, so we're gonna trade very lightly in terms of calls. So there we go. We're going to look into these Teslas. Tesla demand bounce yesterday. Still not enough push to get us above 201. So we're still below lower lows, which means we could continue to drop lower, probably head towards bottom of supply or demand. Anything else intraday? Let's look. Not a lot I see. We did have a ton of buy momentum up here, so If buyers are priced in today and they continue to push us up, then we'll probably hit a higher high. But this spot, we do know that there's buyers involved, especially down here. Really strong buyers stepped in down there. Overall, we have seen evidence of just possible volatility and overall buying up down here. So yeah, maybe we can try to see a small push. If anything, my price targets are probably going to be around 197 to 201. So we'll watch out to see how much this will move the market. Of course, it's a Friday, so these contracts for Tesla are expected to be a little trash. So just be wise with that and don't take it if the setup isn't there. All right, we'll move on to Meta. Meta overall relative strength compared to market. Not yesterday, we had the previous days before that. Today, we're seeing a huge move pre-market. Looks like we're about to achieve a higher high above 177 after breaking this falling wedge and then retesting, which is really key. That's how you determine false breakouts. If you break out and re-enter, if it bounces off support, then you know it's still strong. We saw that yesterday, still low volume down there, but then we started getting it midday. If we hit a higher high, look at this little move. We can try to push up towards that 180, where overall my rejection spots are going to be at this whole spot. What we're really looking for is for profit takers. Where are these people who bought calls down here or over here going to be taking their profits? And so for me, that's going to be that 180 spot. And then we can try to take a quick scalp short. We should probably see a resell towards around this 178 spot towards this 179. So overall, good profit possibility here, but we just got to be aware that there is a lot of buyers still holding. Where are they going to take their profits? All right, let's move on. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon, I'm gonna probably clear chart here soon. This wedge isn't really that strong. Not really seeing much. I want to go to the 15-minute for this. I want to see how we look there. Few things I want to check out. I want to check out first off, how are we doing here? As far as support, looks like support has something going on. Yep, we definitely have something on support side. We got our bounce here, almost a bounce, or oops, almost a bounce here, and then we got a let me clear chart. We got a bounce down here, bounce down here. Now, as far as resistances go, this resistance is based off of a pre-market high, so it's going to be a little weak as far as how we may look. Still could be a potential price where we see movement at. Not else I see relating to a breakout. So this is a falling wedge. If we break our resistance, then of course we can expect movement up. Now, as far as taking profits go, we're gonna look for this spot here. Overall, should be the most spot for sellers. We're gonna look at this spot primarily because of this whole box here. We're looking at this bounce of being affected, this box right here being affected. Overall, massive sellers there, and big sellers up here. Looks like we had a breaker block here. It's all good. So yeah, sellers around this whole zone is a big possibility, especially if we break out. This gives us a price target or possible profit of maybe $1 to $2, so it's not bad, especially for 0 DTE. So yeah, I'm gonna watch out for that. We're gonna have that on our list, and let's go on to AMD. So AMD, as you guys can see this week, we've been bounded towards this supply. And now yesterday we had enough volume to push towards the earnings supply, which is also a bounce back here and a sort of trying to reject, but then we broke. So we're definitely going to watch out for 80.89 again or that retracement. So if we do push for a reject, where I personally want to grab puts. But of course, again, it is Friday. I'd rather take this on a Monday. So if we can hold above it or hold at it, that'd be good for us as well. Good morning, Dully. If you guys have any questions as well, let me know in the chat, and I'll get right to it. So we're looking at Netflix. Netflix, so far, nothing. We broke support. Of course, the support has been fairly strong. We still have buyers down here that we can start seeing for Netflix. As far as me taking a position for Netflix, I'm probably not going to look into that. Same thing goes for HD. So Microsoft, this pre-market high looks like it has potential. We did hit a higher high there, so that's good. Still not highs above this February 27th. As far as supports go, we do have a potential. Let's see. Oh, that was weird. I turned this on an accident. No, nothing there. I'm probably going to leave this Microsoft. I don't really like trading Microsoft too much, so I'll probably leave it there. We do look like we're trying to bounce overall. Still lower lows, so watch out for that. We have to hit a higher high above 252 than 255, where we do have a lot of sellers at 255, so watch out for that. But yeah, that's about it. BA, gap right here we're trying to fill. I'm surprised the amount of strength we were able to build up and then push immediately after this break. So we have our profit takers slash buyers down here for the put side as we broke this falling wedge, causing us to kind of push up higher. As far as rejects go intraday, I'm gonna watch this right here. 211. We're looking at 3 reject candles there, and let's look for some more back here. Maybe one down here, one down here, as they balance another one up here. But overall volatility. So yeah, we can see momentum loss and then a rejection at 211. But as far as a continuation goes, if I were in the position of a buyer, where would I take profit? The mentality of that, we're gonna look at this spot for rejects, and of course all of up here, where we're going to try and see people get back up to that sort of spot where we fell at, and then take puts. But overall, main spot here, as you guys notice, this is where we broke below this rising wedge, so there is going to be expected fear there, so just watch out for that. All right, let's go on to not Disney, Google. We're looking at Google. We'll gain some volume after demand continuation past the week. If we can break above 92.34, or probably reach a higher high, price targets being this 94 towards this 95 spot. So all of this. And so just watch out for that. That can be some good money there. And yeah, that's about it for me there. Walmart, we stayed above yesterday, so that's good. Still, I'm surprised Walmart consumer had money flowing in yesterday at open. Walmart didn't really seem to want to push too high compared to stocks like Costco and Target. So it's really interesting to see how we were still held down even after volume was in their sector. So to me, that possibly tells me that um, if you're looking to take calls today, will the volume be as high? Or if you're looking to trade puts, are we going to hit a lower low? Because if we do, then it's potential that we do go lower. As far as intraday setups go, this high looks pretty solid, 140.73, because we had our 2 high day rejects there, but we also have a rebound right here. So maybe this can be a nice position for orbs. We'll look at it, we'll see, but main sell spot for um, Walmart is going to be right here. So keep that in mind. All right. PayPal. PayPal gained some strength, 72 after breaking. I don't like this lower low at all. So I'm probably not going to look at it. I think sellers are going to try to bring us lower. But let's look. So SQ, looks like SQ almost broke out. Sort of still in it. We've held above 74 pretty strongly. Still had our lower lows. So basically we had our sort of trend like that. And then we were able to gain volume, push up. Now are we going to expect these people who bought down here to take some profits and bring us back down? That's a possibility. Or we could try to push up and then reject at these 3 candles up here. But yeah, that's about it there. Let's look at crowd. Looks like crowd was able to break a higher high of Monday. So it could fill that 125. What I'm gonna watch for is this 125 to see if there's sellers here, or if we're gonna fill this gap. Voice correct there. And yeah, that's about it. AMAT semis ended up building back strength again. As far as continuation goes, let's see if we can hold below 119. Overall, this whole spot is selling. We see it here. We see it up here. We're seeing it over here. So I want to see how we do react to the spot still, if we can hold below it, or if we break above, are we going to hit this 120, or are we going to hit this 124, or eventually are we going to reject past this resistance? That's about it. So just a small recap. Today we're watching the rejection off supply for ES. If we break, I don't believe we're going to break above it. I think it's going to be a tough spot to go and continue. Therefore, calls are a little tight for us. So I will watch for rejects there. I will watch for bounce at 3975. And as far as that goes, volatility within this 4005 to 3997. And that's about it. Hope you guys have a great trading day. Hope you guys trade smart, trade safe. I'll see y'all next time.